But I'm also work on the Dearborn County GOP chair, and again, appreciate you coming here tonight. We've got some of our candidates that are on the ballot here tonight. I think most of you, if you saw the marketing piece we sent out, we have another one coming up April 2nd. That will be at the same start time. And so with that, I will share with you that I want this meeting, and I think we have a great opportunity to have a great meeting to hear from our candidates in a civil way. And if you've got questions, please keep those questions to policies and what's going on in our county in terms of the direction they're talking about leading us into in the future. Personalities, I would ask that you keep up. Okay. For our candidates, a couple things too. We've got our timekeeper here, Kathy Burke. We've got the word sign. Based on the number of you that showed up tonight, and I appreciate everybody being here. If you could limit your comments to a maximum of 4 minutes, we would very much appreciate it. Kathy is going to be giving you 30 seconds, and then if she flips it over, we can stop. And if you keep going, we'll get changed and point out. But, if you could do that. And as with the audience, if you could keep your comments to why people should vote for you, what you feel you need to do in the position you're going for or are already in, and leave personalities out of it. And you opponent, some of you, most of you have opponents in this. Talk about yourself, not the person you're up against. So that'll help keep this to a nice civil meeting and be effective. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to just introduce yourselves and the ballot position you filed for. And then I've got a list of everybody that's come here, that's supposed to be here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start going down my list. And it's going to be by ballot position and just alphabetical. So with that, if you would start with Carl, introduce yourself and what you're running for.
My name is Carl Pazonk. I'm running for the office of Dearborn County Sheriff.
And Maxwell County District 43.
Steve Neal, County Council, District 2.
Joe Bonami, County Council, District 1.
Doug Baker, County Council, District 3.
Trevor Bischoff, County Council, District 4.
Chris Allen, County Council, District 3.
Chad Williams, County Council, District 1.
Kevin Turner, County Commissioner, District 3.
Addison Jarvis, Center Township Trustee.
Jeff Cotton, County Commissioner, District 3.
Jason Wyatt, Dearborn County Sheriff.
Joe Volks, District for Senator, District 43.
Lynn Devins, Dearborn, Ohio County Prosecuting Attorney.
Gary Baskin, House District 68.
Thank you all. And with the number of candidates up here, right now it's 6:40. We'd like to finish up 6:40, 6:45. We put in the marketing piece that we're going to have 30 minutes for Q&A, and then after that, 45 minutes for speaking with the candidates. So we could end up early. We will not end up late. So I don't want anybody thinking they're going to go home at 10 p.m. So with candidates, I'd let them know they can come to the podium here, or they can stand here, or just stand up when they have their 4 minutes, or whatever you're comfortable with. And so from that standpoint, if we can start out with the county sheriff position, Carl, you go first.
All right. So as I said, my name is Carl Pazonk. I'm running for the office of the Dearborn County Sheriff. I currently reside in the Hidden Valley area with my wife for 21 years, Suzanne, who is a dedicated educator for 22. She's entering her 22nd year of education in our community schools. Together we've raised our son, Carson, who is a freshman at Miami University in Oxford. I started with the Dearborn County Sheriff's Office in 2005. I started in the jail. I worked in the jail for 2 years. In 2007, I was promoted to merit road deputy. I graduated the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy in 2007, and in 2010, I was promoted to investigations. I was promoted to detective. In my time as a detective, I was assigned to the Dearborn County Special Crimes Unit. I investigated a lot of the serious criminal offenses that occurred in Dearborn County, including burglary, robbery, fraud, theft, even homicide and arson, with a main concentration in narcotics. I was also assigned to the Dearborn County Indiana Crimes Against Children Task Force, which targeted a lot of child exploitation, child solicitation, child enticement, and the dissemination of child pornography. With my time as a detective, I was also certified as a forensic cell phone examiner. I have over 1,000 hours of specialized law enforcement training, and I've also received the Excellence in Law Enforcement Award presented by the Dearborn County Prosecutor's Office multiple times. In 2025, my current position, I was promoted to the Chief Deputy of Dearborn County. In my role as Chief Deputy, I carry out the day-to-day operations of the Dearborn County Sheriff's Office. I have administrative duties. I work within the $8.8 million budget, and I'm fiscally responsible with that budget when it comes to expenditures and all the everything that goes into the Dearborn County Sheriff's Office. Also taking part in the jail and making sure that our inmates are taken care of and the jail is ran efficiently. On top of all of that, I spent 14 years with the Sunman Dearborn School Corporation coaching football. I spent 4 years as the varsity football defensive coordinator, won 2 state championships up there. So I'm very vested in the community. As sheriff, I'm committed. My main goal is to keep Dearborn County safe. A safe place to live, a safe place to work, a safe place to raise a family. How am I going to do that? I'm going to continue to combat the drug issue and the drug problem that we have. With the vast experience and leadership that I have in investigations, especially in drug investigations, I know how to target the interdiction, the data-driven areas of the county for all the police patrol and things like that. Creating programs that improve the health and mental health of our deputies. Stronger deputies make a stronger community, mentally and physically. I would like to have set hours that they're able to work out during their time. Building and maintaining partnerships in the community. One thing I would like to do in the areas that don't have town councils, hold town hall meetings for community input. Ensuring our jail is safe and efficiently run, providing high quality, consistent training, and continuing the recovery efforts that we have in our jail so we do not have repeat offenders. I really appreciate your time and listening to me. Again, my name is Carl Pazonka. I appreciate your consideration on May 5th. Thank you.
All right, Jason White. How y'all doing today?
Good.
My name is Jason White. I'm running for sheriff here in Dearborn County. Recently on Facebook, right? There's people that reached out to me and they're like, "Who is Jason White?" I served in this county for 22 years as a deputy sheriff. My last 6 years, I was a patrol supervisor with Dearborn County Sheriff Department. So in my 22-year career, I was out on the road day and night, serving the public, responding to calls, and taking care of the situations that were true. Outside of that, I served in the military for 28 years. In my military service, I was a military police officer. During that time, I did 2 overseas deployments, one to Afghanistan and one to Iraq. Also, once I got back from my deployments, I decided there's more to my military career. So I jumped into instructing. I went into and started
teaching military police school, military corrections school. And I also taught 2 leadership schools. But who is Jason Wyatt? Those are just credentials, right? There's stuff to it. But the reality is, Jason Wyatt, I'm a man of God first. Second, I'm a husband, I'm a father. And to my grandbabies, I'm papa. And that's important to me, and those are the things that I hold true. So, why am I running for sheriff? I retired. I went good. I'm drawing retired from the sheriff's department. You know, I have some VA stuff that I get. I don't need a job, right? I want it out of a sense of duty and a moral obligation to this county, right, and to the people whom which I would serve. Law enforcement, there's been a change over years in law enforcement, right? And I think a lot of it has to do with cultural issues, right? We need to break these barriers of these cultural issues. And again, just like Carl said, great programs that the Sheriff's Department currently has. Great ideas of doing town hall meetings. Those are fabulous things. Because the stronger we can build the bonds between the citizens and law enforcement, the stronger this county will be. Again, I'm not a man of many words, but all my information is out there on my website. It's jasonwhiteforsheriff.com. And if you have any questions, my phone number is out there also, and I'll have cards in the meet and greet. I can get you information. And again, open book. Ask me questions. I'll give you the most honest answer I can. Thank you so much for your time.
Before we go to the next ballot position, I want to share with everybody, I've given the candidates, if you haven't got them, let me know, a piece of paper. And what the Dearborn County GOP did earlier was they have candidate pages on our website. They're all hidden from the last election, but we're going to create them for this election as well. So after this meeting and within a week or two, we're going to have on our website a number of profiles of people you're going to see tonight, plus others. So I wanted to see the heads up on that. The next position that's open up is Commissioner District 3, Jeff Cotton.
In the spirit of timing, I'll try to hurdle around everybody. I'll speak from here. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
All right. My name is Jeff Cotton. I'm running to represent you for your next Dearborn County Commissioner, because I believe in one simple thing. One of us working for all of us. Dearborn County is just a place where we live. It's where we raise our families. We run our businesses, and in my case, ran other people's business. We worship, we volunteer, and we look out for one another. It's a place built by hardworking people who value faith, family responsibility, and community. And those are the values that I will bring to the Commissioner's office each and every day. My campaign is built on 6 pillars that I believe will keep Dearborn County strong for the next generation. Fiscal responsibility, government should live within its means, just like every family and small business in the county has to do. The tax dollars deserve to be spent carefully, transparently, and wisely. Something to invest in town hall meetings, I think that's a great idea. As Commissioner, I will work to ensure every dollar serves the people of Dearborn County. Saving strong communities. We're in public lineup with the Sheriff's Department on that. Public safety is not negotiable. Our Sheriff's Department, emergency service, and first responders must have the tools and support they need to keep our families safe. Safe communities are a foundation for a strong county. Third, smart growth and economic opportunity. The one growth that respects our communities and creates good local jobs. That means supporting small businesses, encouraging responsible development, and making sure Dearborn County remains a great place to work and raise a family. Which I've raised 2, and got my boys right there. Infrastructure and roads. Good roads, reliable infrastructure, responsible long-term planning, keep our county moving forward. We need to maintain what we have and plan wisely for the future without wasting your taxpayer dollars. Preserving the spirit and heritage of Dearborn County. Our small towns, farms, and traditions are part of what makes this county special. Growth should never come at the expense of the character and heritage that makes this county our home. 6 is accessible, accountable leadership. County government should never feel distant to the people it represents. I believe your commissioner should be someone that you can talk to at the grocery store, at church, and fish fry. Or at breakfast that's coming up Saturday at Lions Club. Friends, this campaign isn't about politics. I'm not a politician. It's about service. It's about making sure that the next generation inherits Dearborn County that is safe, prosperous, fiscally responsible, and proud of its heritage. That's why I'm asking for your support in the Indiana primary election on May 5th. Together, with your help, we can continue building a county that works for everyone. Because at the end of the day, this campaign is exactly what our slogan says. One of us working for all of us. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Kevin Turner, the County Commissioner for District 3, and I'm running for re-election. The basics. I have been married for 22 years and have 2 daughters, a 17-year-old musician who is already better than me, and a 13-year-old dancer who could outdance me when she was 3. For 33 of my 47 years on this earth, all spent living in this county, I have been trying to perform some sort of public service. I announced Pee Wee baseball and Pee Wee football as an early teen. I refereed basketball and football and worked as a lifeguard at the Aurora City Pool in my later teens. When the flood of 1997 happened, I gave up my spring break at Butler to come back home and help clean up. Treated beaches for river mud and was happy to do it. I worked for the utility department. I've been in law enforcement for 28 years, serving in all roles: dispatcher, jailer, reserve officer, patrol officer, sergeant, investigator, and now detective. I was a volunteer firefighter for 25 years until I broke a vertebrae in my back while doing CPR. My back was already messed up from all the years of working in police and fire work. I couldn't wear an air pack any longer. I basically spent 24/7 working on or thinking about emergencies. Thankfully, while annoyed that my clothes often came home smelling of a house fire, my wife was very supportive. And I met people from all walks of life, mostly in the darkest hours. And I saw that we were not going to have enough police, fire, or EMS resources to deal with the increasing number of calls. So, 8 years ago, I decided to run for county council. As a worker in the trenches, I believed I could give insight and make changes so that we would have the tools to protect Dearborn County. I worked with the sheriff to fix the department's pension after I realized we were losing our best officers, including our most experienced homicide detective, after 28 years. Now they have the incentive to stay up to 33 years. Our EMS system was struggling so bad. I had already presented a white paper outlining steps to help fix the system, and when funding source became available 2 years later, I volunteered to serve on a group to make recommendations on how to use the funding to save our EMS departments. Our EMS now makes about 95% of their first out runs. I voted to give the highway workers and jail officers a raise since they were making a pittance, and that reflected the importance of their job. I've learned how to balance the county budget. In 2025, I was elected by caucus to fill Commissioner District 3. I took this chance because I knew I had the experience, the dedication, and the integrity to change roles. I dedicate most of my vacation and compulsory time to perform commissioner duties. I list my home phone number for people to contact me, and I'm usually able to call them back and to speak personally. I want business growth in the county for our future generations, but I do not want our citizens to be taken advantage of by outside businesses. I will use my experience and tact I learned as a referee to try to solve problems brought before us, big and small. Already, I made the motion and voted along with the other commissioners on the solar and data center moratorium to allow us time to properly work the issues. I'd like to be reelected as your county commissioner to continue doing this job, and I ask for your vote this May. Thank you.
We'll move on to County Council 1, Joe Bonamini. I pronounced it right.
Bonamini.
Bonamini, okay.
There we go. Joe Bonamini. Yeah. Usually go by Joe. Most people who are close to me are family, friends, refer to me as Joey. My father was named Joe as well. So I'm 38 years old. I'm a lifelong resident of Rice, Indiana. I am the oldest of 5 children. I have 5 children of my own. I'm married to my wife 10 years. She's a great mom of our 5 boys. She puts up with us a 7, 6-year-old, 4-year-old, and 2-year-old, and encouraged me to apply and work with them. So right out of school, I was hired on working at Dearborn County with Dr. Swanson and orthopedics. I was there throughout their change over to High Point Health, and then all the way till St. Elizabeth purchased and took over Dearborn County. At that time, they were dissolving the orthopedic department. Dr. Swanson was retiring, so it was kind of a strange time. Worked out well that Ortho-Cincy asked me to join on with them, so I've been with Dr. Howard now for 6 years with him now. So I would like to say, I guess, over the years serving this community, from 12 years in orthopedics, had a lot of patients seem to express their trust in me. Working with them, I've seen a lot of people, I see a lot of familiar faces here. Common things that are told me with great respect. I'm good at communicating, I'm open, very approachable, able to break down concepts for patients, give them better decisions on making their healthcare decisions, and give good guidance. As far as how that can translate, I first started involved with some of the Dearborn County, at the county level, when I had to go apply for a zoning variance. I've never really been involved in any of the Dearborn County, never been involved in politics. I learned a lot going to those meetings for variance applications. I got interested even more when I saw the changes that were coming on for the zoning and ordinance changes. I was involved in some of those meetings, some late nights down there, and some of those guys I remember. At that time, I started getting more and more interested in seeing that there were ways that I could contribute to have an impact. So what I look to do is take some of those skills and rapport with people in the community, knowing that I want to serve them. I am running obviously for District 1, which would be Miller, Harrison Township. So representing them, but understanding I'm still serving the entire county, everybody. So all decisions that we make are going to impact all of us. So, like I said, I have a lot of people and faces that I recognize from all over this county and southeast Indiana. And want to note of closing, as I was deciding to go ahead and run for this position, one primary or anything I heard is I think you want to get like 12 to 14% turnout for voting. So regardless of who you're voting for or who you're interested in, whether it's me or Chad, Kevin, anyone, try to encourage people to go out and vote. There's a lot of people that are opinionated. I'm strongly opinionated. That's why you can tell people, well, they don't do anything about it, get out and go run for a position. If you're not going to run for a position, at least go out and vote so that you can feel like you're represented. So tell someone to go out and vote so that at least you get a better turnout and you have representation that happen. Thanks. Appreciate it.
I can assure you our county party is invested in more than 14%. We had multiple okay, thank you. Chad Williams.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chad Williams. I live in the Woodbridge Estates community that's across the street from Casey's Landscaping Business on State Line. Been married for 22 years to Jenna Williams, and we have 2 boys. Thank you for all coming out here this evening and sharing this time with us, learning a little bit about us. I've spent 21 years in the United States military, started off as a private and ended up retiring as a major, so a wide variety of experiences. During that time, I started off as a paratrooper in North Carolina and worked with NATO in the Netherlands, deployed to Afghanistan twice and Iraq once. Was able to work in the athletics department at West Point in New York, and I finished up teaching ROTC in Oklahoma, teaching the next generation of leaders. When my military career ended, I was hired on by Cummins, and I'm a project manager. And with that job, I bring teams together, I manage budgets, solve problems, and deliver results, which I feel lines up directly with local government. But most proud is just being a part of Dearborn County, right? As a young person coming through Lawrenceburg High School, my home life wasn't amazing, so those civil servants, the teachers, the coaches, were what helped me become who I am today, and so I kind of like to give back doing that. My wife is a school counselor at Central Elementary School. My son graduated from East Central, and is a sophomore at Purdue. And my younger son actually goes to Lawrenceburg High School, three-sport guy right now, as a sophomore in high school. Outside of work, similar to Carl, I coach quite a bit. I coach football, basketball, and track at Lawrenceburg. Just similar to what I said earlier, it's someone who really positively affected me. That's what I try to do with our young people in our community, and just want to give back. I feel like Dearborn County is in a strong position, but we also face a lot of decisions in the years ahead: growth, development, infrastructure, and responsible spending. Those things that I'll focus on. Joe and I and Devin will not be able to replace Liz. She has tons of experience and knowledge, but knowing that she's a phone call away for guidance and mentorship, I think we'll be in a good place regardless of who you decide to work with. Finally, just spend my life leading teams, solving problems, and serving others. That's why I'm doing this, is to continue serving the community, and I look forward to working with everyone in this room to make Dearborn County the best place it can be. Thank you.
We have a third candidate, Kevin Ford, who could not make it tonight, but will be at the April 2nd. So, Steve Neal, Council 2.
Good evening, everybody. I'm short, fat. My talk is going to be short and sweet. But, 73 years old. Probably the oldest one in here, I think.
You're old enough to be my older brother.
Anybody here older than that? No, you guys are older than that, you don't look that old. But, I was born and raised in Dearborn County. I spent 72 years in Dearborn County. I graduated kindergarten first year, or in kindergarten here in Aurora. Went to Tennessee for 1 year and spent my first grade year there. Came back to Greendale for my second and third grade year. Moved to Lawrenceburg my fourth grade year through my seventh grade year, and then moved back to Greendale my entire high school. So I've been a District 2 person all my life, except for a couple years in Aurora, which I will not cover. But I graduated from Lawrenceburg High School, married my lovely wife, Aurora girl, in 72. Had a beautiful daughter in 74. 76, I had another lovely daughter, and we decided when we first got married that we'd have 2 kids 2 years apart. 2 years, 23 days. All right? But that's my family. Proud of them and love everyone. And when you spend 53 years with the same lady all your life, sometimes you learn how to fight and how to bicker and how to make up. So it all works out. But proud to be proud of my tenure through school and stuff. But a year ago, I had a fellow come up, or a couple years ago, come up and said, we need some support in Manchester. I live in Rice Corner. Well, I sort of live about halfway between Rice Corner and Powell. And I live in the Manchester area, and he said we need to get some representatives from Manchester to represent our area. I couldn't protect the school, we lost the school, but that started me in politics, not politics. I'm not a politician. I'm not much of a speaker. But I got to tell you one thing I got common sense. And I'll use common sense on anything that anybody brings up. You got a question, call me, because you won't see me on Facebook. You got one of these little cards right here. Got my number on it. You got a question, call me. And I'll answer. I'll either answer or I'll call you back. But I got started in that as a guy asked me to be a committeeman in Manchester. And I haven't missed a meeting that had anything to do with politics since then. I started liking it already. I started really enjoying it. And then I don't like some of the things that's been going on around the area. said, there's two sides to every story. And if you got a question, you ask me a question. And I might agree with you, I might not agree with you. But I'll talk to you about it. And if I got a problem with there's two different sides of the story, I'll talk to that on the other side. And that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve, and I will share with you that 35 years ago, I heard I said the two most important words to stay married. Yes, here.
I've said that all my life.
There you go, there you go. All right, with that, let's move on to Council 3, Doug Baker.
Thank you, Al. Thank you to the City of Aurora for hosting us. I'm Doug Baker. I grew up in Rising Sun, graduated from Rising Sun, raised two beautiful daughters there. I was a 30-year member of the Lions Club there. I've worked at Aurora Casket for 21 years, with the City of Rising Sun for 25, retiring this past September. In 2016, Jane Ames, my fiance, and I, and her daughter, moved to Dearborn. Fell in love with the place, made many new friends, and was encouraged to run for council. I did that and was elected in 2020. I love watching college sports, high school sports, was a licensed official for over 40 years, officiating basketball and softball. I still occasionally umpire or referee a ball game for the youngins. Presently, I serve on Dearborn County Council, Dearborn County Redevelopment, and the Aurora EMS Board. I'm a proud member of the Dearborn Post 292 Sons of American Legion. And as a former Dearborn Town Council member, I served on the Dearborn Park Board, working to create a comprehensive plan and a new governing park board. By doing this work in-house, we saved $80,000 in consulting fees. I still work closely with the trustee and the town manager to assure that there will be adequate funding for the park and the parks. During my tenure on town council, the community had been challenged by utility deficit. Along with others, I've worked to bring that out of the grid while keeping the employees' wages and benefits at a competitive level. Also, while I was on Dearborn Council, I was co-chair of Stellar Pathways. Stellar Pathways Committee comprised of elected officials, park board members, and representatives from One Dearborn and additional stakeholders. The committee brought close to $8 million to Dearborn County. I'm still working with state officials, local officials, to try to find a solution to the funding of 911. Hopefully we'll get something here this year or next year. While on council, I encourage the council to move their riverboat money out of the savings account, investing it into CDs. That created future dollars for the town. One year we had to freeze the riverboat spending, allowing those dollars only for emergencies and necessities to make up for the other shortfalls. I have a list of the achievements that are available if someone would like. I have over 25 years of experience and will work only to offer the best for the citizens of our county, Dearborn County. I am dedicated to serving with transparency, integrity, and accountability. I'm running for this position because I'm a lifelong conservative. I believe in providing and funding services such as law enforcement, highway, infrastructure, public safety, and others while staying within the budget. I will continue my conservative approach, making decisions that will affect many citizens, most citizens, in a positive manner. I believe the conservative approach should continue to provide opportunities for the youth of our county. Thank you.
by thanking all of you for being here. You're preparing for the greatest act you can do as Americans, which is to vote. So thank you all again for being here. For those who don't know me, my name is Chris Powell. I was born and raised right here in Dearborn County, and I've lived here every single one of the 49 years. My family roots run deep, all the way back to 1805. This is not just my home, this is my heritage. Today I live on the west side of Aurora with my wife of 23 years. We have been blessed with 2 daughters and now 2 beautiful granddaughters. One of the things that matter most to me is giving back. My motto is facta non verba, which is Latin for deeds, not words. I believe the most important thing each one of us can do is give freely of our time. So I step up and volunteer anywhere there's a need. My wife keeps asking me, why can't you just say no? And I tell her there will be plenty of time for the sleep when I'm dead. I always care deeply about our community, which is why I've stepped up to serve in public service too. I ran for one of these seats, Aurora City Council, and lost twice to the Great White Crater. I served for years on the Aurora Preservation Committee. Right now, I'm the chairman of the Dearborn County Soil and Water Conservation District. I sit on the MLS committee of the Southeastern Indiana Board of Realtors and have served on their board of directors. Over the next decade, we are going to be faced with some big challenges. Solar farms, data centers are coming. We need strong zoning laws to keep industrial solar and heavy development a safe distance from our neighborhoods and our families. We have to protect what makes Dearborn County special. Our government also needs to be an open book. In this age of social media, as Mark Twain said, the line can travel halfway around the planet while the truth is still putting on its shoes. That's why every meeting, every note, every dollar spent must be recorded and available for the citizens to see. No more he said, she said. Sunshine is the best disinfectant. And then there's our infrastructure. When the casinos came, we paved everything. Now the casino money is drying up. The potholes are still here. We must maintain our infrastructure, but we have to do it smart. We have to be smart about it. Every time we want something new, I promise I'll ask one question first. What will our children and our grandchildren have to pay for it? We cannot mortgage their future for short-term applause. I'm not running for a title. I'm running to serve. I will always put the best interest of Dearborn County citizens first, working with deeds and not words. If you give me your vote and your trust, I will show up, I will listen, and I will work tirelessly with every family in the county we all love so much. Thank you. We do this together. God bless you, and God bless America.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm Carter Bischoff. I am as Alan said, I am a Republican candidate for Dearborn County District 4. I'm about 32 years old, so I'm one of the younger guys up here. I have 4 children, and I have another one due in September. Busy man. Let's see, I'm a 6th generation resident of Dearborn County, all in the St. Leon area. And I've been involved in family businesses in various capacities. Much as I've been alive. So it's Bischoff Realty and DES Racing. So why am I here? So I'm an outsider of politics for the most part, grassroots candidate. I have no relationship with the Dearborn County GOP other than voting in primaries and general elections over the years. That changed about 18 months ago. I was asked to serve on the Redevelopment Commission. I'm doing that ever since. The culmination of that experience and then some of my personal beliefs have led me to go ahead and run for office. And that personal belief is that the government is by the people and for the people. And the experiences that I've had, particularly the Hillsborough
sum up in 3 words what I would like to do. It's transparency, cooperation, or excuse me, communication and collaboration. So I believe we need to be transparent in all our dealings, make the public aware of what we are doing, why we're doing it, and do it with integrity. We need to listen and engage with our local community. If there's a concerns, that's something I heard over and over again, all on the redevelopment commission. And then finally, we need to work with the citizens of Dearborn County to address their concerns, notify them of what county council is currently dealing with all the various issues. So what does that mean for the residents of Dearborn County? So there's 2 things I kind of like to bring up as to plans I'd like to do. The first being, I think we need to move council meeting times to a time that's more accessible to the actual residents. So I'm thinking 6, 7 p.m., somewhere in there, to have more people be actually able to make it to those meetings. There's so many times I hear people say, well, I can't make a meeting because I have a job, and it's an inaccessible time. So that's the first thing. Additionally, I'm a firm believer in meeting people where they're at. So what does that mean? It means 2 things. So it means physically meeting people where they're at, whether that's at a gas station, a restaurant, coffee house. It's actually meeting there and engaging with them. Secondly, it's engaging their concerns. So if someone has a concern with solar, Jim's district, we need to actually address those. Assuage those here to come with a plan to deal with that. So something that I piloted during my campaign, it's actually on Saturday, it's going to be called Coffee with the Councilman or Coffee with the Candidate. Just 2 hours set aside where I would like people to come talk to me or whoever's elected. We can talk about what's going on in the county, what changes you'd like to see made, what fears that you may have to address. Thank you for listening, and together I believe we can build a brighter future for you.
We have a second candidate, Randy, who could not make it here, but we reached out to our prosecuting attorney, Lou Dennis, who makes a statement.
He apologizes he was unable to make it tonight. He's being elected onto the Tri-Township Water Board tonight, and so he had to be there, but he asked me to read this to you. Good evening, it's my pleasure to speak on behalf of Randy Roots, a candidate for County Council District 4. Randy is a 4th-generation resident of Logan Township who proudly lives on the family farm with his wife for nearly 20 years, and their 2 children, both of whom attend East Central High School. He's the son of Dale and Rachel Roots, and his roots in this community run deep. Randy is a small business owner involved in auction and real estate, and he also farms and raises Angus cattle on the family farm. In addition, Randy serves the community as a school bus contractor for some of your community schools, helping ensure local students get to and from school safely each day. Randy is also an active supporter of the community. Each year, he proudly supports the Dearborn County 4-H youth through the livestock auction, and is a supporter of the North Dearborn American Legion Post 452 and new offices, continuing a tradition of giving back to the area he calls home. As a small business owner and farmer, Randy believes in common sense principles and fiscal responsibility. He understands that protecting your tax dollars require accountability in county government. Randy often says that serving on county council should be a lot like running a small business. You simply can't spend more than you bring in. With deep roots in Logan Township, a strong work ethic, and a commitment to responsible leadership, Randy is ready to serve the citizens of this county. So please consider supporting him for county council in District 4 on May 5th.
All right, I guess back to back, Linda. Your turn now.
My turn? I'll be brief. My name is Lynn Dennis. I currently serve as your prosecuting attorneys for Dearborn and Ohio counties, and I am unopposed this year, but I thought it was very important to show my face and to also make myself available to all of you here tonight. Just a little bit of background. I was appointed to the office of prosecutor back on January 6th of 2017. It's hard to believe it's been that long. I ran for my first election and was sworn into office again on November 6th of 2018 is when I had won my first election. I was reelected in 2022, and I'm seeking my 3rd term as your prosecuting attorney. By way of background, walking around. I would go to a German mass there on Sundays at 11:30, and quite honestly, it was a little unnerving because you just don't feel safe. So it definitely hinders your abilities to get out and about if you don't feel protected. So I'm very proud of my office. I'm very proud of what my office has done. We have a high-tech crime unit. We help analyze cell phones, not only for Dearborn and Ohio counties, but approximately 9 other counties. I believe in sending people to prison, if that's where they belong. Sending people to jail, and sometimes people just make poor choices and deserve a second chance and to be put on probation. As serving as a prosecuting attorney, I am the chief law enforcement officer for Dearborn and Ohio counties. We are the last joint circuit in Indiana. So it's kind of unique down here to be the only prosecutor in the state of 2 counties. So if any of you have any questions for me tonight, I make myself available. I'm very proud to represent all of you and work for you. And if there's anything I can ever do to assist or help you, my door is always open. Thank you.
All right, State Representative Garrett Mack.
So I'm State Representative Garrett Bascom. So this is the end of my first term here. My wife Haley and I, we have 4 kids. So my oldest are 5, my youngest are 5 months. So it's very important to me. I'm back at home every night during session to be with them. I'm the second youngest member. I'm 31, the second youngest member of the General Assembly. Now looking back at my first term here, I can see that I've been able to be very active and trying to help folks in this community and then folks across the state. I've been able to pass 10 bills that I either authored or sponsored. I was either the co-author or the co-sponsor of 15 more. Some of those aren't kind of the stuff that you would want to hear about. Some of them are kind of technical about search warrants, things like that. Other things, I'm not afraid to step into the fight. So I can tell you, my first bill in the General Assembly was related to immigration. They didn't tell me not to file a controversial bill when I first started, so I went ahead and did it. So the first bill said, common sense to us down here, but if you are charged with a misdemeanor or felony, and the officer has probable cause to believe you're here illegally, the officer has to report you to ICE. Common sense to us, we're doing it here. Indianapolis, it was a tough time getting that through with some of the folks up there. This year I was happy to co-sponsor another bill to add on to that, so the back end, the Sheriff's Department now have to honor those ICE detainees, those ICE detainers when they progress. That was an Attorney General agenda bill. Additionally, I helped strengthen as a co-sponsor some legislation around foreign interests as it relates to folks that are lobbyists, as it relates to foreign interests buying farmland, to make sure we don't have any of those foreign interests from foreign adversaries buying this farmland, getting involved in any of these government organizations. I can also tell you I'm not afraid to stand up for our Second Amendment rights. This past year, the 3 bills that passed that were gun-related, I either authored and then put the bill into a different bill, or sponsored and co-sponsored the other 2. So I'm not afraid to back down from a fight. What also is very important to me is mental health. Mental health is very personal to me, mental health and addiction. And so what you also see from me is I do a lot of things in the mental health and addiction space. I think it's very important we continue to provide a lot of services to those folks in that community. It helps to make us all safer as we continue to progress. So the last thing I want to talk a little bit about, it's something that doesn't necessarily have to do with legislation, but something that impacted me, and it's something that I'm trying to help as one of only 6 attorneys in the 70-member Republican caucus. I know most people probably think they're all attorneys up there. I am one of only 6 in that Republican caucus. So what happened last week was a judge in Indianapolis struck down our abortion ban bill, in part using our Religious Freedom Restoration Act as a basis. So I won't go into a lot of the details, but needless to say, I disagree vehemently with that decision. And so what I plan to do with another one of the attorneys that's a good friend of mine, we are attempting to co-write an amicus brief to help support the Attorney General's position to uphold that abortion law. And so I'm not afraid of the fight. I'm not afraid to stand up for everybody. I'm pretty accessible. I try to call folks on my drives every single day. I try to also be responsive when folks call me, so don't be afraid to reach out. Come up and ask for my cell phone number. And I don't have a primary opponent at this time or this year, so I would appreciate your vote in the fall. Thank you.
surprise you that, you know, on our side, in our caucus, there's probably 5 out of the 40 of us in our caucus. So it's good to have that perspective, but we have a very, very large variety in the caucus, which is very about the only one commercial contractor in the caucus. So anyway, a little bit about myself, so you don't know me. Grew up in Northern Dearborn County, and been here for Indiana State. Been with my wife for 35 years. I'm 50 years old. I was 15 years old on the first date. I didn't have my license yet. She drove. Been together since. Met in Central High School. 3 kids. Oldest one is Alex. Going to be a grandparent in April, which is unbelievable. That was my daughter. She works in Cincinnati. She graduated with a rank in Metro. Now my youngest is a sophomore at Purdue. His name is Bill. So the last 2.5 years has been amazing. It's made me grow as a person more than you will ever know, because it's made me really think for the first time in my life outside of myself and my business and my family, and it's been amazing. But it's a lot of work. Gary talked about talking on the phone on the ride up. I also commute from St. Leon, which I can do in about 55 minutes, and we're just always beating our heads to the wall, addressing things, and we're always calling some issues back. If you've ever called me, if you've ever reached out to me, and I haven't gotten back to you, see me afterwards, because it's a rarity if I have. Because I don't want to get back to everybody and try to help. A lot of you even this year, we worked on some bills to do away with the solar farm mandate stuff, which the House passed, which we fixed. We made sure we crushed that, and did some other things that help move the state forward. Probably not too many third-year legislators carried priority bills. Carried a priority bill this year for the houses. It was still House Bill 1003. We cut, basically the government's Indiana's form of DOGE. Okay, we cut 35 boards and commissions, saving taxpayers probably multiple $1 million over the future years. It was a real pleasure and really challenging to make sure we're alive. You know, my faith, my family, and your feedback is what's driving me right now. You guys may know my company. I've been around for a long time. We spent decades giving back to this community, not for a plaque on the wall, or pat on the back, those things we do don't get noticed. You know, some of you didn't know me from the football field. I'm big into that for a number of reasons. One is what I've been wanting to do my whole life. Played football at Indiana University. I didn't like to used to tell people that, but after our past 2 years,
I'm out of the closet now, right?
I was a tight end at Indiana University. Next month, my nephew Maxwell, his name, he's going to be in the NFL draft. So that was fun. Coached my kids for all the way through. Coached a lot of your kids. We had a good time. And teamwork has been my life. I've never done anything alone. In this district, in this county, nothing happens alone. And we're all on the same team. And I'm going to tell you, after May 5th, we're all on the same team here. We are. And there's going to be, you know, people working against each other, trying to convince who's the best candidates for the job. We're all on the same team. And with my business and my company, the biggest thing I've learned in the last 2 years is, in my life, I've always been a pleaser. You're trying to please a coach. You're trying to please your customer. You're trying to please your employee. But the hardest part, the last 2.5 years, is you can't please everybody. And up until taking this role on, I really, really believe like I can please about 95% of the people I interact with. And in politics, my goodness, it's not fun if you're used to being a pleaser, because you can't please everybody. So you do the best you can, and you make the best of it. And on any team, I've ever coached before, you don't just get handed the starting spot. Right? You got to work for it. And I'm going to keep showing up, keep listening to you all, and I'm going to keep fighting. If you don't know me and you don't trust me, it's because you didn't give me a chance yet. So I hope to earn your trust, and I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for Alan. Thanks for everybody coming. I am Joe Volk, and I'm running for state senator. Me and my wife Cindy is there, and we have 2 girls, 1 son, and started a hair dye business when I was at age 12, and then I became a fabricator, built trailers and different sorts of that. And I became a farmer at age 16, which is calculating. I guess I farmed 40 years already. So I'm a big advocate for saving our ground and saving southeastern Indiana from overdevelopment. That is one of the main reasons I started running. It seems like we've been fighting, when people need something, they seem to call when they're fighting different issues over the years. Right now, we're against solar farms, data centers, overdevelopment, and we just got done with a TIP district and then Link 101. A lot of people seen me speak at Link 101, and they're the ones that wanted me to run in the caucus 2.5 years ago. Frankly, I didn't even know that even would exist. I was totally shocked that's even possible in America. So I thought the people's vote counts. So since then, I've been really watching the politics. I've been coming down here to the Republican meetings and watching, paying more attention. And I thought, you know what's going on? I'm not a big guy that watches news, but our country is getting off its foundation. When you watch or hear anybody, everything's all over the board. So I'd like to break down the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the Republic. And the Republic, what does that mean? The power rests upon the people through a representative, and not through a monarchy. A monarchy is like a king or queen, where someone in the county dictates how people vote. So that's a republic, for which it stands. One nation, under God, indivisible, which indivisible for a Christian or somebody would be Jesus, which is our Lord and Savior in our afterlife. With liberty, and we have the 28 principles of liberty, which is the basics of the Bible. So that's kind of a rules. And then with liberty and justice for all. So if you keep God first, God, liberty, and justice, if you keep that in line, like a compass, we're going to have a great, strong country. As soon as you start putting worldly things ahead of godly things, everything becomes out of sequence. Now, when I look at the world and what's all the crazy stuff going on, I thought, this is not yet happening, but it apparently is. It's like, what's going on? So we got to get back to the basics. We need to put God first. So many people tell me, if a kid writes something about God at school, they'll get it taken away. Long speaker. So, people died for our freedom. And that's why I'm running. I did not serve for a military, but people died for our freedom. So, God bless America, and I'm Joe Volk, running for state senator.
We have two more. I'd like to introduce Madison Jarvis, who's going to Center Township trustee.
Hello, like you said, I'm Madison Jarvis. I am 24, I'll be 25 by the time the election happens. But just a little bit about me. Helping others has always been a huge part of my family. Being of us, basically always running around doing something. We don't know how to sit still. We need to help people
Yeah.
This is my first time running for a public office. I'm a 1990 graduate of East Central High School. After graduating high school, I moved to Ohio for a few years where I became a state trooper. In the year 2000, I was the Trooper of the Year for the state of Ohio. Worked in many drug interdiction, CIA, Secret Service, executive protection. I protected presidents, I protected governors, on down the line. You know, the accolades are forever when it comes to that. After my retirement, I decided to move back to Indiana because Ohio is just crazy. So I moved back to Manchester because Manchester now is the way Bright was when I was young. Over the past few months, actually a year, 18 months or so, it seems like Manchester's getting attacked every time we turn around, from wanting to put ball leagues to build Dollar Generals, putting solar farms in our communities. I don't want that. So I stepped up. I've decided to run for Manchester Township trustee. Currently, I'm employed with Duke Energy. I am one of the directors of the Executive Critical Protection Unit. Also, I am a licensed and operating NCAA football official. I did go to the Ohio State University. I'm also a four-sport high school official. I call football, baseball, softball, and basketball. And for some reason, I'm sitting here looking at these guys as big coaches, and I'm like, I can't believe I haven't canned any of these guys out again. But I've come close, haven't I? Full disclosure, Kevin is on my Friday night crew. I am the crew chief of a state tournament crew for the IHSA football. He's my line judge. I am the referee. I keep this short because I see just a few people in here from Manchester, but for those of you from Manchester, I'd appreciate it. Good progress.
Thanks, Rick, and I want to follow up and thank all the candidates for showing up tonight.
Al, can I add one thing?
Was he under the 4 minutes?
Well, I gotta add this or I ain't walking out the door. And I am here tonight with my lovely wife, Ashley. I have 5 children. One of them has graduated from South Dearborn. The other 3 are still going to South Dearborn, and they are heavily involved in everything. So I'm sure you guys will see me around at the school or at a sporting function somewhere. Thank you.
Well, I'm pretty proud of myself. I did the marketing page.
I was getting stabbed.
7:45. What time is it? 7:45. So now we move into the Q&A section. We've got 30 minutes in the schedule. We don't have to take 30 minutes. But we wanted to provide you, the audience, opportunities to ask candidates some questions either individually or, if one candidate applies and the other candidate is opponent, certainly respond as well. But with that, any questions to start out with for the candidate? We have one.
I just wanted to ask, what are your thoughts about St. Elizabeth cutting our medical ability to do certain activities here in our county?
Who's that directed to?
Whoever wants to answer.
I'll start with that. I've already went up there and expressed my displeasure as to what they've done. There were at the time that was when they were brought in, believed that they were going to start EMT classes. I believe they finally are now. They were going to start CPR classes. They have not. We didn't have much choice. They were the only people that wanted to buy the hospital. But I have met with someone from St. Elizabeth Hospital and expressed our displeasure, or my displeasure with that. I'm only one person out of it. One good thing that came out of that conversation was that they promised not, this person said they were not going to close the O'Brien ward, so we still have inpatient beds. That absent, let them know that we are displeased, and we take that to our higher ups.
To back on that, I think it's a good lesson to learn from the county. Sandy made some promises during that transaction. The county didn't get that right. Those are things that promised to continue with the new hospital, continue different items. been able to find it, if we didn't get that writing. So as we move forward in different businesses, these big businesses that have a lot of attorneys, they have a lot of people come in that are not just, kind of overwhelming. I think it's important that we do a better job. It's like playing chess. We've got to not just today's accomplishment. We've got to know how that's going to play out down the road. And I think it's something that we need to learn from. It's got to be a learning experience. It's not a good thing that it's not get done. But they're a big business. They made a business deal that it worked out for them, and it didn't work out for them.
I can just say, it concerns me greatly. I mean, my whole district, that's the one healthcare facility inside of it. I got Dearborn, Ohio, Switzerland, and Milton Township. FSSA is starting a regional group for the Rural Health Initiative. I think we got $256 million as a state. So when I talk to FSSA, I express my displeasure at the environment that would allow this to close. And so I've asked to be put on that committee so I can help try to find ways that we can invest additional funds here for rural health. Because oftentimes, rural health is what keeps getting hit hard. We keep making all these little decisions for the big five in Indianapolis, the big five hospitals, and rural health is what ends up getting the short end of the stick. So my hope is maybe we may be able to do something with that rural health initiative.
I was going to agree. Right, another here from Township, a lot of infiltration going towards the west side of Cincinnati for a lot more of healthcare. I think over the years, seeing how much it's impacted the other parts of the county further westward, just losing a lot. It's heard a lot of express concern from patients, especially about certain services eliminated, and then there are ongoing changes now of sort of leading ICU organizations.
Anybody else?
I won't sugarcoat it, that decision. I mean, it's not going to cost, it's going to cost a life. At some point, it's going to cost a life of Jersey County citizens. And those were decisions, this is a decision that was made now, there was actually decisions that started in the county for a decade, whenever, when some politician, we decided to sell the hospital. Whether it had to be done, I can't say, I wasn't there, but as far as I was concerned, that from the beginning was one decision. And it will cost a life. Who's going to pay for the air repairs now? And you can't just be taking it to every county and taking Kentucky. Air repairs,
I live on 148 in Dearborn County. I've been there twice. Well, multiple times. I haven't been there twice, but I was ready my last strikes here when I was 7 years old. Wasn't supposed to make it. Good Lord, I'll be back. 40 years after that, I went in with perforated valve. The doctor called my wife in the waiting room and said, call the family, he ain't gonna make it. Good Lord, brought it back again. And the problem is, I live out on 148, or 48, I'm sorry, and I hear the ambulance go by my place probably 15 times during the day's time. And I know they're going to get somebody, they're not taking anybody that way, they gotta bring it back. Well, how much farther? It's no different than what the kids have to ride on the school bus, it's just like they ride on the school bus. Now they gotta ride a half an hour farther. So just think about that, how many times that's going to affect somebody. And
Except when you're on a school bus, you're going to school and you're healthy. You want to have a.
But I mean, it's similar to that. The kids got to ride on the school bus back that far. Now they got to ride on an ambulance. So that's the thing that kind of hates you.
So obviously, it's a great loss for the citizens of Dearborn County. I think it plays into the larger picture of other concerns we have with fire and EMS in the county. So I think the best thing to do is look for citizens and then members of the council and the commissioners all need to come work together, come with a plan to how can we fix and rectify the situation, which at the current point looks like might continue to deteriorate at least for
Before we get to the next question, I have a mea culpa. I forgot a young lady that sitting in the corner here, Patsy Lytle.
I wouldn't exactly say I'm young.
My apologies.
my pictures a little. Some of the people that come to the Republican club, my name is Patsy. I'm the Miller Township trustee. I'm running for reelection. I do have opposition. I have township trustees who, one of our things is providing fire and EMS services to the people in our district. So Miller Township has just under 10,000 residents. My responsibility is to see that I have enough budget to fund my fire departments and that they're running well. I've worked hard to communicate with them. Townships can take on the responsibility of running fire departments. That would cost us a lot more tax dollars than if we support our volunteer departments. So that's what I've been doing. I take care of abandoned cemeteries and do assistance to the poor. The fencing disputes, I was just got a call right before I came down here. And I don't do Facebook, but my office is my home. I take calls whenever anybody calls me. I go to people's houses. I have a card with my phone number on it. I give it out if you call me. It's coming back. My email, my phone number is available to anybody that wants it. And so I appreciate being given the opportunity to continue serving.
Any questions back?
This is for anybody that wants to answer it. With the property taxes supposedly going away and your, whatever position you're running for, what are you doing or planning for in order to plan to do more with less, so to speak?
Quite a little bit of details about. So last year we had Senate Bill 1, which had some cuts to the bottom line of the property taxes. Property taxes aren't going away. We're shifting from a levy-based system to a rate-based system. The reason that particular change is good, the levy-based system, all the taxing entities are kind of fighting over the same percentage, and they can take the other person's percentage. A rate-based system gives more power over that particular entity. When we talk about doing more with less, I struggled significantly with this bill. We are very fortunate in our community to have 3 casinos that help buttress. I don't know how other communities are dealing with that. I will tell you this, I am done with tinkering with property taxes and just coming up with a piecemeal solution. I would support a repeal and replace if there was an alternative. The alternative system that's out there right now that's been proposed 2 years in a row would be a service tax. So my question to all of you is that what you'd be willing to pay, a service tax as opposed to a property tax? But no matter what, we have to have something that's a viable alternative to replace it.
Karen, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Which is, Indiana, property taxes, the way I understand, aren't going away in Indiana because it was put into our Constitution by the voters, 1, 2, 3. So even if the Supreme Court says property tax is a bad thing, and I voted against 1, 2, 3, but the voters of Indiana put it into our state constitution that property taxes 1, 2, 3 were something that was going into our state's constitution. So without changing the Constitution, it's not going away, is it? I mean, or can it?
It's a good question. I have to look at that specific provision of the Constitution. You could zero it out, I suppose. So I'd have to do a little bit of research if we have to actually change the Constitution to pass that particular version. But I would say that at least one thing you could do is maybe zero that out if you had an alternative. I don't see, I mean, I try to be candid with folks. I don't see that my colleagues and the folks in the Senate are going to want to replace it. I think we're going to be dealing with this system as it is. But that's just me trying to read the tea leaves, but I'm just telling you where I'm at from my personal perspective. I philosophically don't agree that you can own your property, that the government can come in and take it if you don't continue to pay them. But it's what we've got. And so we've got to work with what we've got as we progress through. So.
Anyone else want to comment?
So, is there
tax on the bill in Ohio. The interesting part about that is there won't be any politicians involved. It's simply going to be, they're collecting signatures, it's going to go on the ballot, and they're going to vote on it. So, from what I see it looks like they're going to have enough signatures. So it will make it on the ballot. So the good news for Indiana is we'll get to see what Ohio does when they lose property taxes, and we'll hopefully learn from them. My biggest concern for Dearborn County is, we're in the business of real estate. We see what I refer to as defectors. They come across that border like droves. Why? Because Hamilton County's property taxes is just ridiculous. I'm not a big fan of ours, but thank God I don't live over there. And they all just come across our border to, get our cheap property taxes. But if they eliminate their property taxes, that flow is going to either stop or change direction. So, Bright in that area might look a little different if Ohio does away with its property.
It might be a good thing.
All right, any more questions? Or any other comments?
Lisa, one thing I would recommend is, as this is all being talked about, discussed, one reason we're all here tonight is to hope everybody gets out and vote. Tell your friends, neighbors, get out and vote. We also need people to step up and be good school board members. You look at your property tax. I look at mine walking in, went up $200 this year. That $200, though, over half of my property taxes just paid for school funding. And that school funding isn't for the education side of it, it's just for the buildings, the maintenance, the upkeep. If you look at the fire schools in our local area, they're carrying over $250 million in debt. That's our property tax money. So even if we find a way to bring down the property tax, we've got to find a way to fund that debt that has been burdened on our kids and their kids. I told my boys when I drive by, I was like, "Oh, that field looks nice." I said, "Yeah, someday you're going to get a paycheck for 40 hours, and it's going to be 20% because somebody chose to spend your money for you." We've got to find a way to not spend their money, do a better job of money with them.
Anybody else? Okay, next question.
Okay, this kind of plays nicely on the state meeting, but broader topic about economic development. I probably have a unique perspective. I moved here in November. I'm not from here, but of all the places in the world, I said, let's go to Dearborn County. And I've been around people who love it just as much as I do. And so I'm in Manchester, so I would love it if Mr. Maxwell and Mr. Gould and then County Commissioner District 3 guys answer, but anyone else is welcome. What response or I want to reword it. What commitment are you going to make sure that development decisions serve the interests of the whole community rather than disproportionately benefiting a few companies or individual property owners?
So, well, that's kind of pointed. Local control is huge. So from the state level, you saw it in 1333 this year, terrible bill. We spoke many times. From the state level, we're always going to push as much local control as we can. So for those of you who don't know, House Bill 1333 passed the House this year, came over the Senate. It was going to mandate that we allow, or it was going to trump your local zone. House Bill 1001 tried to do the same thing. It's going to trump your local zoning and basically mandate that on certain classifications of agricultural ground that you could not stop a data center or a solar field from going. So this has happened all over the state. It's not unique to Dearborn County. So obviously the thought process behind that on the gentleman that filed it on your side, he's the vice president of Farm Bureau, Indiana. I assume that most of his district is class 1 and class 2, very, very, very fertile good farm ground. He's going to make it completely illegal there, but on lesser productive land, they were going to basically tell local counties that you have to allow it. So we killed that bill. House Bill 1001 was another bill that came over that was worse, but it didn't specifically address solar or data center. It was going to talk a lot of other zoning and ordinances for cities and towns and counties that, in the name of affordable housing, which we all would agree is a good thing, So, local control is the answer. Let your plan commission and these commissioners make the decision, not Indianapolis. Like that's the answer. Like Dearborn County runs Dearborn County, not Indianapolis. It's saying, we're very proud. I mean, it's so cool. This is so cool, by the way. I mean, we're all just humble Hoosiers. Like none of us guys up here like talking about ourselves. It's uncomfortable. But Indiana, I mean, we don't want Washington D.C. telling us what to do. It's exactly the way Dearborn County does what Indianapolis tells them. So, we've learned so much in the last 2.5 years. It's not a big talk, but I can talk on that. I can talk on that about property taxes. I'm not going to. But local control is the answer. And your commissioners will decide what will go on in this county. And your council people will decide how to run it. And that's the answer.
Any other input on that?
I think as a commissioner, you have to consider all sides. It's not fair to make a decision based upon one voice or on either side. So you consider all sides. That's then work together to find a solution. And if it turns out that what you think and what is best for the community is to stop development, that you would not vote to change a zoning, changing use, then you don't do it. You don't have to vote to change use. And that's in our ordinances. If our ordinances aren't good enough, you can make it better. We're already doing that. We just went through that with the solar water and the data centers. So you take a pause, you look at all sides. I've been a proponent of having a small group work together to try to figure out and propose ideas. And you have to stick with it. I mean, there have been a lot of things that have tried to come in, a lot of different TIF districts, a lot of different whatever. I've watched housing TIF districts trying to come in. I've watched them come in. I've watched them fail. I've watched municipalities in the entire area that took money away from public safety for about 20 years. And we have a very difficult, bad taste in my mouth on that. I watched a TIF district set fallow for 10+ years, but now we're starting to get some development. So you have to listen to all sides. If you're going to take a hard stance and just say we're going to have no development anywhere, we're just going to keep it the same way it is right now, then we're just going to be stuck. But it shouldn't change the nature of the community around it. I mean, that's just ludicrous.
Oh, you want to go now? You can go ahead.
Yeah,
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
For what Kevin's talking about, we watched the last meeting, and, we talked about moratorium, and, during the meeting of the Pelican High School, we talked about having a citizens advisory committee, and I talked to Bobby and Emily and the groups that are out there. They put a lot of time and effort and gained a lot of information that I think can help get us off the ground. There's also members that lease their property to have, that want to continue with a project like that. And listen to everybody. And I think listening to everybody today, here we are looking at us face to face. You can look at my website, look at my Facebook, but face to face, we're all here talking about it. And I think you gain more information, move further, and are better developed. I'd like to see, county commissioners, the council have, like Trevor talking about, with, topic we can, or topic we can. And I think that the commissioners get back to people and talk about what's going on in their district with what they had in the meetings. We're required to post it in the newspaper. Who still gets the newspaper? Who reads the fine print at the bottom of the classified ads? And that's where we're notified. We live in a different world than when that rule came into place. I think we need to make sure we make adjustments. It's a group. There's 3 commissioners that we always talk and discuss those out. And I think that's the important part, is just trying to figure out what's best. As we represent you, we need your input.
Yeah, so your question, to keep your ground the way it is, that's one reason I'm running, because everything that comes up, I feel like we're trying to steer a school bus by the bumper, and we need to get in the steering wheel. So, when I horseshoed, I I horseshoed in many of these counties. I'm a retired horseshoer, and everybody that lives out there, they may have to drive an hour, hour and a half to go to Kroger's or whatever, but they live here, they move here, or they've been residents their whole lives. They love it. I haven't had one of them that was out there that says, I want something closer, I want a box store or anything else. They do not want development. If you listen to people, and that's why I'm running. I'm not running for myself. I'm only running for the people. So the people do not want development. And if there is development, you need to keep it to the towns or the sewer, the infrastructure's already, to put a subdivision out somewhere else where the water and sewer is not there, and then put it on us taxpayers. I own 5 farms. I got my own water and sewer on every farm. But however, when I pay my taxes, I have to pay sewer tax. It's like, that's ridiculous. So, it's a big problem. Everyone I talk to in every one of our counties that we represent, I have not talked to anybody that wants development. I haven't talked to anybody that wants a solar farm. If they like solar farms, because that's your thing, green energy, which Obama, I think, is the one that pushed this through. They're getting carbon credits, and they're getting green money. And as soon as they get that money, they may give some to the government, but they're LLCs, so they can file bankruptcy really quick. So, if you think when they, like, dang $5 or $6 billion in front of you, I would be really leery about that money. Because if they go bankrupt, guess what? You don't get any money. It's no different than the casinos. They dang well walk out money in front of everybody's face years ago, and it's disappeared. So, it's not, a lot of this stuff is not attainable. People don't like data centers. There's already a lot of them already in play. It only took me 2 hours to figure out where a lot of solar farms are going in and data centers. Prospects before we go in. So I'm just telling you, everybody, it takes everybody to step up. One person can't change it. It takes everyone to speak up and go to meetings. And who's ever on board, they need to let everybody know instead of keeping it quiet. Because it seems to be the hush-hush, so we can get it through. And then once it's so far along, then it's hard to get it stopped. So that's why I'm stepping up to give the people the voice and educate all of you.
Bill, I'd like to leave time for one more point. Gary?
Just one more question to make sure on 1333. Just because the House passed it doesn't mean all of the House Republicans voted for it. I voted against it. I'm not afraid to vote against a bad bill. Even if it's a Republican bill, I'm doing what's right for us, not for any particular interest or anything like that. The other thing I'll mention, I'm working with some other folks in the room to work on NDAs as it relates to some of these development agreements. I think transparency is important, and so just going to tinker with how can we try to thread that needle of making sure that non-disclosure agreements aren't a part of some of these agreements. That's what I'm going to work on next year.
Real quick, by the way, I gave him a hard time because the House passed it later. Just to explain, my wife called Garrett my legislative my spouse. Because on the way back and forth, so he called me right away. He said, we just passed a terrible bill. Make sure you kill it when he comes to your side. He said, okay, I'll do what I can do. And he engaged with some of the people in the room that were knowledgeable on the subject matter. There were 600 bills filed this year in a 60-day session. So it gets a little crazy. But Garrett called me right away and said, you kill this bill. So we did. And anyway, just I gave him a hard time. But he had to need this. So thanks.
All right, one more question.
I'm Ed Yelton, and I farm out there in Manchester Township. I'm a retired heavy equipment operator for 25 years and was in the private sector for a while. I've seen a lot of development when the water Lawrenceburg did a lot of work out here in the world and throughout the county. I work for an old developer. His name is Ralph Lovis in Newcastle. He built some of these lower income housing for elderly people along Park Side of the road. And I remember back in the 80s where I've always said progress hurts. And one thing I'm going to ask everybody to do. This solar business is a long-term development for our county. And if you haven't, send an email don't do emails, send the zoning board a letter. I'm offended and paper man myself. I'm just asking everybody to do that, and there's some people here that can rather never vote, that's all I'm gonna say for it. They thought of my mouth.
All right.
That have a response. Is that from the goats or the pigs? That's it.
I'll tell you what.
Have 2 minutes.
I need to use that up here in high school, but I'm gonna tell you something. Some of them farms out there in Manchester have been signed off on this. McCann, Bill Canoe, Charlie McClanahan, can't think of the other one, but Bob Wills. I knew those guys. I was little. My dad was friends with them. And for them old boys would know that they wanted to put solar out there and not have crop ground, or it to be developed in a better way for the community, they grow flat down in the grave. I'm telling you that.
Thank you.
Now, I think I'm one question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. This is a totally different subject, but this is about healthcare. And, I've been a dental hygienist for 35 years. Our quality of care is, top notch, and I've always taken great pride in that. I have a really great concern in Indiana about, that. Upon the governor's desk, if he hasn't already signed it, there is a thing in regards to allowing foreign dentists to come in to actually do dental hygienist work. Overseas dentistry is a lot different. That's and also on a similar note, some states are allowing dental assistants to have a few months worth of extra training to do dental hygienist work. That's many years difference in training, and I'm very, very concerned in Indiana and a lot of other states in regards to the quality of care, not just dentistry, but medicine. When you put a dental assistant, you put a foreign dentist in a dental office to do professional work. It's like putting a medical assistant in a critical care unit. I'd like to know who all here would love to have a medical assistant keep them alive for 12 hours. So dental hygienists provide a very big role in dentistry, and I for one just want to stand up for a lot of dental hygienists that are very, very upset in Indiana because we feel our profession is being undermined, and I want the people that can be in charge and helping to change this to do that, because I think all of you needing health care will want the best of health care in Indiana. Thank you.
Thanks.
May I ask you a follow-up question to that?
Well, let me ask you a question. Is that something that our senators or...
I have a question.
Impact on? I don't know.
Bills have been passed and it's now in the governor's hands, but what I'm saying is
Okay,
that...
I think you may have said that at the beginning. I just didn't catch that. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
I actually have a question. This is directly related to that.
And last question.
Yes, thank you. I do appreciate it. I'm Brad Dearborn. Full disclosure, Chris Powell's my cousin. We share the same grandfather that came in 1805. Related to this topic, I have a question. This is limited only to a county candidate. Anyone that wants to answer it. Just county government, because it's a particular question related to it. The question is, we literally are under attack, our culture is under attack by things like this, where our government in Indianapolis is passing laws and doing executive actions to bring in this instance, foreign dental hygienists to perform the work that Hoosiers should be performing. And the reason they do it is because they're conservative Republicans. It saves money. They're cheaper labor. So my question is this, related to it. Will our county government, it's only limited to county government people they're running, will they choose from Indianapolis to allow growth of our population and our economy through diversity, equity, and inclusion, and international migration, Or will our county government choose our own citizens first? Thank you.
I mean, I think you gotta look at the situation that's involved, right? We don't know, that's a big wide range of how we grow our business. But we want our area to grow. We want good jobs. And we're talking about good jobs for Dearborn County,
For who?
counties, for us that we're here. You know, we are a welcoming county though, because we don't all, I've been here all my life. Not everybody in this room has been here their whole life. But we welcome people in. But the DEI thing, we need the best people for the best job. You know, that's the biggest thing to me. If I go to somebody, I mean, I've had 2 stints put in. You know, at that point, I didn't get the chance to choose. It was some foreign doctor that did it. And it was a St. over in Edgewood, but they couldn't do that here. I'm thankful that somebody kept me going. I lost my wife in 2019, and it was a local situation. Anyway, we can go on and on for that. But we need the best people for the best job. If you fit a category that's not best for the job, you need the best people for the best job. That should be everybody. I know I run a business. That should be everybody's business thoughts too.
I certainly think, I mean, you cannot, we want people to legally be able to be citizens of Indiana. Very recently, I helped a lady get her green card with a couple phone calls to our state, or our federal representative and our senator for the United States government, because she was legally trying to get her green card, and they were very good citizens of Dillsboro. They're not dental hygienists. I promise you that. They want janitors. Probably the most important building in Dillsboro. So, you know, I guess, you know, that never got DEI, not by any stretch of the imagination. Right, we're American, and some of the people that live in this county have been born and bred here. But as far as county officials, we got what we can do. What can we do legally? And that's what you have to understand when you're in a position as a county commissioner. What can you do legally, and what can you do within your lane? If we go and ask the county council what you guys are going to do, you guys would not be able to say anything except I can't throw any money at it, because that's not your lane. As a county commissioner, I cannot make state law. That's not my lane. Now, can I make my opinion known to my state representatives, to my state senator, to the governor, to whoever? Yes. To the licensing boards? Yes. Does that carry a little weight because I got commissioner behind my name? Yes, it kind of does. But we make our opinions known. I know that the licensing boards, and I don't know how this has gotten around to all that, because the dental hygienists have to do the licensing board, right? The state licensing board?
Yes, but
They're trying to circumvent it, make it so it's short. Okay. I know it was harder than heck for my wife to be able to practice pharmacy in Indiana, even though she had an Indiana license. So the licensing boards are, we would be going and expressing our opinions through that to that.
they're saying here that there's a shortage, but the real logical answer to that is you graduate more dental hygienists, or you graduate more.
Very
Why
simple.
is it even a bill that the governor discussed? I don't know.
But I would definitely not be excluding any qualifications. They must be qualified. I'm not going to exclude anybody based upon race, color, creed, sex, religion, nationality. That's just un-American.
Last comment, and I'm going to wrap these up.
On that topic, as far as people working here from outside of the country and whatnot, and the dental hygienist thing needs to be, but what I think we all should be concerned with, and maybe the prosecutor and China, is the CDL operators who are out there on the road. Who, the one that I saw in the news, his CDL literally said name not given. That's as far as they try to figure out. I think it's a 60-ton piece of equipment down our roads. And if we get, as far as being on the county side, if we pull one of these people over on 50 that are driving with, unqualified drivers? We throw it to them, you know?
I mean, they're gonna be held the same way, they obviously are an operator under license.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only so much we can do with the law that we have, whatever the state statute is. So, but we will uphold that, I guess, and it's not like we're gonna let somebody drive I don't know the tonnage. Yes, down the road, it kills somebody, it's not even a U.S. citizen, has no credentials for it, so.
Yeah, that's one of my, just on that topic, that's my biggest fear right now, which is as far as that
Safety.
Okay.
I normally don't talk about response, but we did just pass a bill at the end of the session to increase penalties and say that you have to demonstrate a proficiency in English language to have a CDL here, and also increase penalties if you don't. So we took some actions to help address that problem because of the problems we saw in California and things like that. So I'll share the bill.
Well, we are seeing the other states here in Indiana, because I just saw a from New York where their name was given on first and last.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I also understand state police is creating, they've also trained some of the state police in, working with ICE and other things, that when they're getting approached, they're actually starting to work on deporting them or getting them right away to ICE facilities. So they stepped up their activity on that as well.
We are on the crossroads of the meeting, so we need to get a lot of it.
There you go. Well, I want to wrap up this up with just a couple of comments here. As I mentioned, we've got a second one coming up in April on the 2nd. It will be a lower level. A lot of these same people will be there at that. There'll be probably a couple more.
Al, I just want you to know that's my birthday.
Well, today's mine.
Well, there you go.
And I'm still here. You better be there. I think you've already committed. Thank you very much. So anyway, we're going to have that. I also want to make sure everybody's aware, our next Lincoln Day dinner is party here, 8 and a half. It's going to be at the Liberty Theater downtown. And we've got Garrett speaking. Congresswoman Aaron Housie. So that's coming up. The last day to register for that, I think, is the 27th or so. So again, we'd love to see as many people as we can. We got about 80 people signed up. We need more people to sign up. We're great at that. I also want to let you know, starting next week, I'm going to be people how many forward. We need to get as many people as we can to volunteer. About the 14th of next month, so I can send to Wendy a list that will be complete with all forward. So I'll be reaching out along with other members of the committee. And I do want to stress, if you are ever thinking about running for a Republican office going forward, vote in the primary. If you don't vote in the primary, you may not be able to get elected. So I'm going to have a consistent message over the next few years, asking people to make sure you vote. Only by the way, you need to vote. So with that, I want to thank all of our candidates that came here tonight. For civil discourse tonight. It was wonderful. Really?
So I've reached out to most of the candidates here, most of you guys have reached back out to me. Thank you so much. It's ad time. So the deadline for ads is fast approaching. It is March 16th. We have to have checks in to Pete and your artwork in to me. As soon as possible. Please don't wait till the last minute. I'm the one that has to sort all that out before we send it off.
And you can pay online.
Oh, and you guys can pay online apparently. For the people in the audience, this year we did open it up to allow businesses to advertise in there if they want. You can get that information from the GOP site. It'll send you right to me, and I can answer all those lovely questions for you, plus it states on there how much it is per size. With business advertisements, though, we try not to keep them political. It's just a straight business advertisement. Dental office, whatever dental office it is, I apologize. Mr. Redwood, you had a company, you know, and I think you've advertised it.
And Bob, what kind of
You know, you guys are more than welcome to. Obviously, all the money that's raised, it goes to pay for the liquidator and health fights.